designs that have explosive yields in the low kiloton range, the detonation of which in a built-up area would still cause considerable, although not total destruction through blast and heat effects out to a considerable radius. So okay, so yeah, it's not they're not as what I had
Does it say
originally
anything about
thought.
the radioactivity? Does it say anything about the half-life of the radiation?
But
That's what I thought I heard. You know, I was a teenager, so quite a while ago. We're talking like 40 years ago.
yeah, there's a lot here to read. I'm kind of glancing through this. It does say, okay, well, it says, okay, this is maybe what you're talking about, I don't know. It says neutron bombs require considerable maintenance for their capabilities, requiring some tritium for fusion boosting and tritium in the secondary stage, yielding more neutrons. It says in amounts on the order of a few tens of grams. Because tritium has a relatively short half-life of 12.32 years, after that time the tritium is decayed, it is necessary to replenish it periodically in order to keep the bomb effective. It says, for instance, to maintain a constant level of 24 grams of tritium in a warhead, about 1 gram per bomb per year must be supplied. That's all it says. I can see on half-lives. Oh, wait a minute, maybe this is it. The bomb with respect to dying with distributed return it to a salted bomb. A case of zinc sulfur produces a byproduct of depleted zinc oxide, which would, for example, probably be the most attractive from a military point of view, as when active as zinc is either a gamma is created. Wait a minute. As when it's activated, the zinc 65 that is created is a gamma emitter with a half-life of 244 days.
244 days?
Yeah, it says, however, the most effective use of a neutron bomb with respect to area denial would be to encase it in a thick shell of material that could be neutron activated and use a surface blast. In this manner, the neutron bomb would be turned into a salted bomb. A case of zinc 64 produced as a byproduct of depleted zinc oxide enrichment would, for example, probably be the most attractive from a military point of view, as when the activated zinc 65 that is created after a gamma emitter with a half-life, as when activated, the zinc 65 that is created is a gamma emitter with a half-life of 244 days. Yeah, so it would continue to emit gamma radiation for almost a full year afterwards, so no one would be able to move back in the area.
Right.
Okay. Interesting.
As opposed to like a conventional nuclear bomb, as far as I know, it leaves radiation for much longer than that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a bomb expert. I'm just kind of reading here.
I'm just curious, you know. Yeah. Because I've heard these stories about neutron bombs when I was a teenager.
So if hopefully we won't be around.
I'm an expert at getting bombed.
I'm just getting bombed is more fun. Definitely more fun. I'm with you.
I wish they get it over with.
Tequila bombs.
Well, in case you haven't noticed, we are live. So.
Oh no, I didn't notice.
Oh my goodness.
So please make sure.
Thanks for the warning.
All your hairs.
I see my messy room here.
Never mind that. NIS is tracking you down right now.
NIS? What's that?
Well, National Investigative Services. Sorry, I should have said like CIA or something because we're talking about nuclear.
Oh yeah. You guys go waste your time.
Okay, fine. Yeah, we'll piddle around in our bedroom until we get it right. Yeah, I don't know. It's I hope nobody ever fires one off. I really.
Oh sure.
Really, but
I was just curious because you were talking neutron bombs and stuff, and I was talking about the gamma ray. Like I said, it turned into a scientific discussion because whether you know it or not, gamma ray bursts are indications of huge supernova explosions.
Yeah.
And they usually they're detected from another galaxy. We haven't had one like that in ours in a while, and I think we're due.
Yeah.
But so like I said, it was a military detection device by means of looking for another country's secret testing of nuclear explosions, turned into this scientific device for astronomers and astrophysicists, which was very cool.
Yeah, we actually talked about one of these weird side effects once, and it was something I had read, and I said, "Oh, that's an interesting point of view." We had talked about like future space travel, because we always talk. At some point, somebody always talks about, well, maybe somewhere in the future we'll find a way to go faster than the speed of light. And one of the issues that somebody brought up is that when you do that, I mean, obviously you're traveling toward some star, some light source. When you're traveling at that speed, the light is going to be blue shifted into the gamma radiation and beyond. And then at some point there's going to be no bulwark that you could put on the spaceship that would protect living tissue from being basically just ripped apart by the gamma radiation.
Well, aside from the fact
at that speed, yeah.
Aside from the fact that kind of speed is impossible anyway.
Right, I know. But the way I was just saying is a hypothetical. If you could go that fast, that's one of the problems that you don't actually normally think about.
I personally think that we could try to reach within the next 100 or more years, possibly 10% of the speed of light. Immediately, less than 200 years, I would say maybe even less than 100 years. It's possible we might try maybe 100 years from now for 1%.
Yeah. So it seems
maybe,
to be,
and that's a big maybe. I'm not
so yeah, it seems to me that there really is never going to be, at least as best as we can see now, it seems like there is never going to be any real effective method of space travel.
Any movement to another star or star system, it's going to be by humans. It's going to have to be one of those generational strips where people live, die, and
one way
fuck each other's brains out and make babies on the way.
Yeah, I think I think that's weird, but I think that really is true. I think ultimately, what would be great. Not great. I don't know. I can't even imagine being on a ship like that. But I think ultimately, yeah, we're going to have to build a ship that is built. I don't think cryostasis is going to work either. I think we're going to need to build a ship where multiple, tens or hundreds maybe of generations can survive, reproduce, produce their own food, produce their own air, produce their own energy for the ship,
right?
And until they, at some random point, find a place where they can settle, and I don't even, I mean, at that point you would have people living on here that had no concept of even what Earth was or living on a planet was.
But on the other hand, what we've done already, and we've been doing, sending probes to Mars and outer planets and Pluto now to investigate before we send people there. That is a lot easier and a lot cheaper.
Yeah, but I think the problem.
And as far as acceleration is concerned, you don't have to worry.
It's not the issue, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to worry. If you can find an engine that will accelerate to faster than we can go now, at a in a shorter distance, then you don't have to worry about the human factor. You do have to worry about instruments being pressurized that way, but we have ion engines now that will bring us up to 30,000 miles an hour or something like that, and they're working on the plasma ion engine, which is supposed to be faster than that. And ion engines right now, we're talking about the acceleration is so little, it's like a piece of paper on your hand pushing this thing. But the trick is that you can leave this engine. I mean, there's 2 spacecrafts out there right now that are using an ion engine. The thing is, you can switch this thing on and leave it on, and just leave it on, like for months straight. Okay, so the acceleration is as fast as the ions are being pushed out the back. Now, if we can get acceleration out of a laser beam, then theoretically we'd be able to get to ultimate speeds of
fast
small percentages of the speed of light.
Well,
there has to be some kind of felt pressure, some equal reaction type of thing.
Well, this is, I mean, and this is, when you start talking about, I think that's a far better future right now to focus on for mankind, is to find a way to colonize, whether it be planets or moons within our own solar system.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's being thought of.
I mean, that's really all we can do. Now, I had to do a quick look. So the sun's got about 7 billion years left. Now, clearly, let's call it 5 billion, because maybe the last 2 billion, it's not going to have enough oomph to heat anybody.
Yeah, I don't know where that 7 billion came from. I thought it was 5, but either way,
but somewhere it's a long time.
Before that 5, or even before that 7, before that 5 billion years is up, we're going to die anyway, because the sun's going to start to expand and change. It changes every day.
Right. And that's So even though it has an energy, I don't know.
Before the actual death of the sun, it's gonna take us.
Well,
with
even if it only gives
long
us-
before- I'd say maybe we had this planet might have another 1 billion or 2 years.
Well, yeah, that's it. But I'm saying that's what I was gonna say. I was saying even
But
if
a
it's just,
billion years? Come on.
even if it's just 1 billion years, that's
Shit.
a pretty fucking good long run. So, and if we ever have a chance to get out of the solar system, if we haven't figured it out in 1 billion years,
Yeah.
I'm suspecting we probably never will.
Yeah.
So, when the sun goes, we go.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking.
If we're still here, that is.
if we're still here,
If
we
we're
get,
still here, and if,
we get the ship and we send the last groups out in ships, in 1 billion years from all our little worlds on all our little satellites, and we just hope that one of them finds a good landing spot.
I mean, look where we are now. We're sending probe after probe to we did this beautiful piece of engineering with the Mars Science Laboratory. The way this Sky Crane maneuver, I love that fucking thing. That's a beautiful piece of engineering. Look what we're doing now with this. We're already on our way. Now we got a new Orion spacecraft, and now it's going to take us out of the Earth's orbit and stuff like that. But you gotta figure, if we keep going like this, and hopefully if we get a little smarter and put more research money into NASA and stuff, not just NASA, but the European Space Agency is involved and other space agencies, Canadian even. Within 100 years, I'm thinking we're going to have people visiting the moons and stuff like that, and Mars, of course, because we're already planning to go to Mars within the next 20 or so years, I think, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we're going to be doing this. Within 100 years, I'm seeing, while this is going on, while we're finally starting to send people to Mars and things, I'm thinking that they're going to start coming up with at least a bit faster engines, because we already have Voyagers are already almost reaching into the solar system. But they're slow in comparison to the one that just reached Pluto.
Well, I do think that what may end up happening.
We're gonna have spacecrafts out there, probes.
Well, I think
try and reach the next star.
I think what may end up happening at some point, it would be sort of very Star Trek-ish, but it would make sense. There was an episode of Star Trek where where the Enterprise, found an old Earth spacecraft with people in cryogenic stasis on board.
Yeah.
Because at some point we're going to send people out on journeys that we think these are lifetime journeys. This is going to take you 100,000 years to go to this next solar system. But of course, clearly in that 100,000 years, while they're traveling, we're building faster and faster and faster ships. So at some point, a ship that we might launch 20,000 years later will have no problem at all catching up with the one that was low. Yeah. So that would really suck to be on that slow ass ship. Everybody else is going around colonizing.
That's the point I'm trying to make about the space probes first.
Yeah.
It's going to be space probes first. You know what I mean? It's going to be robots first.
Yeah. But
and as we build these things and as we explore the rest of the technology gets better, and we learn by building these things, we learn by sending people to Mars, we learn by building these space probes, we learn how to build space probes by building space probes, just like you learn how to build a car by building cars. You get better at it every year, or supposedly anyway. So the technology goes up, and sooner or later we're going to reach a point where we at least get a small percentage of the speed of light, and forget about trying to get to the speed of light, but. And we're going to want to send a space probe someplace far. We're going to try to I'm thinking maybe send a telescope, half a, or the diameter of our solar system, I think, is a full light year. Okay, the outer edge of the heliosphere, where the Voyagers had one of the Voyagers had apparently broken through, is about a half a light year from the sun.
Have they not heard from it since it broke into the heliosphere?
They have. But in any case, the point I'm trying to make here is, if we can make a spacecraft fast enough, instead of taking the 35 or so years that it took the Voyager to do that, it might only take a few years. You know what I mean? To go past our heliosphere and investigate what is beyond our solar system, and then possibly keep in communication with it, see how long it lasts. Because you got to remember, it's being bombarded by cosmic rays after you.
I have a question. This is I'm sorry, this is an off-topic question, but I want to hold on. I want to just give me 1 second to hit my button here. Okay. Oh, okay. That's not too bad. But all right. Los Angeles. There's an article. This is off topic, but it says Los Angeles lifts minimum wage to $15 an hour by the year 2020. They failed to mention that in the headline. Now. What do you guys think? That amounts to $31,200 a year annual salary, but that's by the year 20. So that's not going to happen for another 5 years. is $30,000 going to be enough to keep you out of the poorhouse in Los Angeles, no less, 5 years from now?
People can live off $30,000 in Los Angeles now.
At the point I'm at now, it would be. But I was making $30,000 a year before I.
Okay. So it says
about 20 years ago.
So right now the minimum wage in Los Angeles is $9 an hour.
That's what I make. I make
That
$9.65 an hour.
It translates to $18,720 a year.
The last job I had, I was making $10 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you think $15 is a reasonable minimum
$15
wage?
I'd kill to make that money.
If you're talking about a minimum,
Yes, this is a minimum wage.
okay. If it's a minimum wage, I would say it's a start. I mean, that's not bad. You know, if it has to be, if you have to impose a minimum wage to get these employers to pay their employees the right amount of money, I would say that wouldn't be bad as a minimum. You know, certainly you want to reach for more than that, but if it was an imposition of a minimum wage, then.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this. There's another guy that was on Google a month or two ago, and he was catching some flack. He owns his own business. And I think he said he has, I want to say they have about 100 employees, give or take, total. And he made this relatively incredible. He decided at his company, the minimum annual salary would be $70,000. He doesn't care what your job is. You could be the janitor. You can empty the trash buckets. That's the minimum wage at his company is $70,000.
Really?
Yes. And he took a lot of crap from, he was kind of, the business community seemed kind of divided. Half the people said he's an idiot, he'll be out of business in a year. Other people said, that, he's a genius and this is an incredibly great way to treat people and so forth and so on.
At the least, it's a nice way to treat people.
Well, and the third one, which I thought,
he's going to have some loyal employees.
Well, I thought, but the third one was what I thought was an interesting comment too. Is they said, well, yeah, but how is it going to make his employees feel that actually have serious technical skills and they're making maybe $80,000 now, and all of a sudden the person who cleans out the toilets, who used to be making $15,000 a year, is now making almost as much as they are. How is that going to make them feel? Fuck them. Okay. I'm just asking.
I mean, I was a janitor once too. I was making more money as a janitor than I was making all these other technical jobs.
Yeah. See, that's a weird. I don't know how I would feel about that. There's a part of me that says, well, if I agreed to $80,000 and I was happy with $80,000, then what should I care what somebody else makes?
Yeah.
But on the other side of the coin, though, I would say, but I'm asking for $80,000 because I see that my skills are significantly more valuable than the guy that's cleaning the toilets. Well,
I don't think so. Is he really?
All of a sudden, if you're paying the guy that's cleaning the toilets the same as the guy that's got his
do you want
doctorate,
to walk into a dirty bathroom?
No, but I'm not.
Because
right.
there's these snobs who think like that, and I've worked with a few of them. Most of them are teachers.
Right. Well,
they think who the fuck they are because they're not cleaning toilets, but they want to go into a toilet that's clean.
No, I understand that, but I also but I also would say I'm sorry, but as a programmer. Okay.
What happens if the garbage guy doesn't pick up your garbage tomorrow?
It's not as bad. Yeah, but that's not the point. The point
where's
is
where's the garbage going to go?
But the point is not that the service is important. The point is what skill set does it take to do that job? And if it takes no special skill set, then I've got an endless labor supply to do that job. Why should I pay somebody $70,000 to do it?
Okay. For one thing, you did say that it was going to be the minimum in the company. I'm pretty sure that.
Well, if we're thinking
the $70,000 job would be the janitor, and the $80,000 or $90,000 or $100,000 job would be the technical skills.
Yeah, but if I'm making 80 before and now the janitor's making 70, fuck, I want 150.
Well, that's just.
Well, it's not.
Everybody should get a raise.
I base when I go out and ask for money, I mean, when I'm working, I base that on the value of my skill set. And the value of my skill set is to some degree based on finding its relative place, kind of across the job spectrum. So if you move the whole bottom all the way up, then I'm sorry, I want you to move me up an equal amount. So if you move the janitor up and pay him 80% more, well, I want an 80% bump too.
I don't think $70,000 is 80% more.
Yeah, I don't know what the bump is. So, well, let's see. Here's minimum wage right here. So let's divide that by 70,000. And that looks like that is actually a 74% bump. So
But is the janitor already making? I don't think
placed
they're paying the minimum wage now.
I know, but I just picked that as a spot. I just picked minimum wage as a spot.
I mean, you're talking 70% from minimum wage, even 80% from minimum wage. That's a different story than you talk about this guy's company. This guy's probably not paying the janitors now minimum wage.
I don't know.
Paying them a lot more than the minimum.
It is interesting. It's a weird. I don't know if I like the idea as a whole. So, for example, here's one thing. Let's say you're the janitor there, okay? All of a sudden you get a bump to 70,000. Well, you're happy. You're never going to want to get any other skill set. You're happy with this skill set. The problem is, if for some reason you lose that job, ain't nobody else going to pay you 70 grand, and you don't have any other skill set. So I'm not sure. I mean, it's great if these people have a guaranteed job and they're never going to lose their job. I think it's almost self-defeating in that it doesn't encourage, it discourages competition. It discourages this idea of getting a higher skill set, because I don't know if this is right or wrong. I'm just throwing this out there. But now that you've made everybody basically happy where they are, you've taken away the incentive, haven't you?
Yeah, it just sounds a little too good to be true. I think there's some sort of plus and minus going on here. I'm sure that he's going to.
Let's find this.
Thin out the workforce. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to pay you twice as much, you're going to do a little bit more for me, right? And if he's making it that tasteful to pay this person a lot more than he was making before, if he's going to raise everybody that much, I'm pretty sure he's going to have to.
Oh no! Wait a minute. This is different. Oh wait a minute. This is different. Oh wait, I have this slightly wrong. I found the article. Hold on. Let me. I just want to make sure. I want to see this.
Yeah, that's why I said it sounded too good to be true. I mean,
No. Wait a minute.
There's got to be some kind of thing.
The minimum wage, the Southwest credit card project at 70,000. This means 70% will be getting 70 will be getting raises, and 30 will see their incomes double. For a price this awesome. Okay, now this is interesting. Okay, so here's the article. He's a 30-year-old CEO. He is taking a $930,000 pay cut to help afford raising the minimum wage at his Seattle-based credit card processing company to $70,000.
Credit card processing company?
It says this means out of the 120 employees, 70 will be getting raises, and 30 will see their incomes double.
Well, see, that's what I was saying. Everybody's going to get a raise.
Interesting. Here's the article. I'll put a link to the article in here. You can read it. But,
I'm all right.
Here it is.
I'm trying not to read anything today, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, that's no big deal. Okay.
That's all right. You're doing a good job reading to me. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
Can you read me a story?
I'm going to read for the blind here as soon as that is my part-time work. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. That just seems like a gimmick, though. To me, this sounds like a gimmick to get.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that someone would do that.
Yeah, especially to take $1 million cut yourself.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
That's generous. That's really generous.
Can I get 1% of that cut? You know.
Yeah, he's taking this out of his own pocket. But yeah, that's really kind of weird. On the other hand, God, you're going to have applications out the ass for receptionist. For that kind of money, or whatever the receptionist makes, or whoever the lowest paid person is there. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
How would you feel at a company where, let's say, everybody made this exact same amount, regardless of your skill? So if you went to work for this company X, and let's say it's a good amount, Company X pays you $100,000 a year, but they pay everybody at the company that exact same amount, from the CEO. Well, maybe not the CEO, but from everybody, everybody outside of upper management, everybody else down gets $100,000 a year for their salary. So you get it, the receptionist gets it, the jackass that's stoned half the time trying to file papers in the closet, he gets $100,000, and you get it, and you're a super duper electrical engineer or something with a PhD. The salary would be good if you had gotten that somewhere else, but would it make you? Would it have an adverse effect if you knew everybody got the same?
There are people that think that way, and I try not to belittle anybody else's position, no matter how small or large it is, and that's the way I've always tried to live. But there are people who say, you're just a fucking peon, go clean my toilet. Like they look down on people who have, You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not like that. So you're asking the wrong person. I'm going to say no. I wouldn't care.
But what if I'm a programmer? So as a programmer, let's take me and let's compare me to the receptionist. Apart from skill sets, let's suppose we both make 100,000 a year, but I work late nights, I work long hours, I have to work weekends, I have to come in when there's emergencies, I have to do all this work. I get 100 grand. She comes in at 9 o'clock, she leaves at 5, she never works a weekend, she never works late hours, and she doesn't work very hard at what she does.
You're giving a hypothetical.
Well, it's not, but it's not totally. I mean, clearly, people work differently have different amounts of
Sounds like a socialism type of thing. Everybody makes the same exact amount. But
yeah.
That's
But would that bother you, though?
Usually when you're talking about a salary, there are compensations for extra time given and things like that. You're giving a hypothetical that just doesn't make sense.
That's not true. Wait, that's not true.
Per 5 days or per day or per hour, yes.
Well, no, but as a programmer, I can tell you,
in emergencies, you should be getting paid.
I don't.
For that.
It's a salary. I get paid the same whether I work 30 hours that week or 70 hours that week. It's not hourly. It's salary based, and that would be the same for the receptionist, except that I'm working 70 hours and getting 100 grand. She's working 40 hours and getting 100 grand and doing less work.
Yeah, but she's not actually getting.
I don't know. I'm curious how I would feel about that. I understand.
If that was the case, yes, I would feel wronged. Yes.
Really?
If I have to do more hours and come in on call on emergencies and this person that doesn't, yes, but that's to me it's like a not gonna happen scenario.
My question there though is, should I feel wrong? In other words, if I would go to any other company and work those same hours and be happy with 100 grand. Why should it matter to me that the receptionist works half those hours and gets that money? I'm still getting the amount that I would have asked for anywhere else.
Yeah. Again, that goes back to what I was saying before. I don't belittle anybody else's need for a good salary, but
Yeah.
I could understand an unfairness where there would be, if you're working 40 for her 30, I could understand that could be a little,
Yeah,
annoying,
when I calculate it out to hours, this receptionist is making more than the programmer, and I'm like,
and
wait a
by
minute.
saying that, you're belittling the receptionist job. The receptionist is not a small job.
Well, no, it's not. But
because she gets more than recept.
Well, yeah, but I think the danger here is.
I knew at least a few receptionists that were actually other office jobs in there that they had to do as well. So.
Sure. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna run. It's almost 11 o'clock here, so I gotta get a little sleep. So, thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, I was about to look at the clock too, and I didn't realize it was that late.
Well, that was awesome. We were live for a little while, and we have some very interesting discussion. It's good.
I thought so. Yeah.
It's good to keep for posterity.
Thanks, Sid. All right, man. We'll catch you guys all later tonight.
All right, Colton.
Don't plaster my pretty face all over.
Did you find out who your stalker is? Your admirer?
My admirer?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Your stock account, or was it you doing it all the time?
I took care of that long ago. No, I only have one account.
No, I know you do, but somebody apparently weren't there 100 Patrick accounts going around.
Was there 100? I had discovered at least 5.
That type. Yeah. So you killed the guy who owned it, and that's it. Gone.
Yeah, I bought him a pair of Samantha shoes. No, I got this camera, and between Sunday and today, I've been making myself obviously visible on camera and telling certain trolls to fuck off and suck my dick. And I'm sorry I said that live on air, but that's what I did.
Well, that's kind of gay of you to say, but it's okay. No one's going to judge you for
I
it.
go to 11 o'clock.
Okay.
My mother goes to sleep, and I'm talking kind of loud.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to say thank you to everybody for watching this very short segment of Ask an Atheist. Thank you to Patrick and to Carlton, and we'll do this again.
Yeah.
Real soon.
Yeah. I'll see you again soon.